Today, we explore how technology is reshaping the way small and medium sized businesses thrive in an ever evolving digital landscape.
In order for us to have a better enhancement to look at what we can do to adopt and really work with our budgets, I'd say is look at cloud-based subscriptions and 365, Microsoft 365, for example.
Dear listeners, small businesses are the backbone of innovation, driving growth and change. By embracing technology today, you secure your place as a leader in tomorrow's market.
When we were helping out small businesses, for instance, we did their journal entries. But within the journal entries, we're able to see certain trends, for instance, right?
Remember that modern challenges demand modern solutions that drive progress and success. Hello and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kripa Anand, here to spotlight the innovative ideas and transformative strategies driving Canada's small businesses community. Today, we explore how technology is reshaping the way small and medium-sized businesses thrive in an ever-evolving digital landscape. Joining us is Jas Khehra, a seasoned IT and sales professional with over a decade of experience in helping SMBs modernize their operations and embrace digital transformation. From pioneering IT infrastructures to enhancing cybersecurity, Jas's work has empowered countless businesses to compete and grow in today's digital-first economy. With leadership roles at global tech giants and a passion for mental health advocacy, Jas brings a wealth of expertise and a unique perspective to this conversation. First of all, welcome to the show, Jas. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks. And yourself?
The pleasure is all ours.
Awesome.
To begin with, let's talk about some numbers. As of 2024, Canada has approximately 1.29 million small businesses, which makes up to about 99.8% of the entire economy. Right? So those numbers are big. Now, post-pandemic recovery, it has emphasized the critical role of technology in, helping businesses recover and remain competitive. What would you say about that?
Yeah, in regards to that, helping business recover post-pandemic is that a lot of businesses have been faced with certain challenges.
Right.
And those challenges are in line with budget constraints,
Yes.
being able to have limited in-house IT experts, for instance. And what we also find at times is resistance to change.
Right.
Because we're used to doing business the way we've done in the past. But after the pandemic, a new world, a new era has begun to shift. So going back to my earlier point about budget constraint, how it all ties together is that it's very hard for SMB businesses to make that upfront initial investment.
Right.
And we're running on razor tight thin margins. In order for us to have a better enhancement to look at what we can do to adopt and really work with our budgets, I'd say is look at cloud-based subscriptions and 365, Microsoft 365, for example, QuickBooks, for instance. You're still providing the same service that you would by not over-splurging and being able to really minimize your costs. I mentioned in regards to limited IT knowledge. What we found in the SMB space is that not all SMBs have the knowledge and capability to implement new technologies or the expertise, let's say. And, you can do a quick search. There's other modes and information available, but it's information overload.
Right.
So being able to partner with a local managed service provider within technology or a technology consultant can really enhance your business and really allow you to make the right decisions that impact your operations, but more importantly, your bottom line. And then lastly, as I mentioned, was resistance to change. All that leads to resistance to change, whether it be employees or even leadership sometimes.
Right.
We're used to doing things the way that worked for us. especially in traditional businesses and whatever you define as traditional businesses. However, if you're able to have a comprehensive training guide, being able to lead by example, show leadership, a proven value of how impacted others as well, that could definitely allow you to grow and really modernize your IT infrastructure, so to speak.
Wow, I think you've put your thoughts very perfectly. You mentioned a lot of things here. We'll get to each one of them. To begin with, you just mentioned that for all the small businesses, they're on a budget, right? They don't have a lot of money just lying around. So for them specifically, if you could just point out quick 3 pointers where how they can invest in technology upgradation without having to spend too much money.
Yeah. So one thing that they can do is look into ways is how they can automate certain tasks, right? I mentioned cloud-based technologies, right? So for instance, for QuickBooks, right? Being able to see if they're looking at certain insights of, going back to my accounting days before I got into technology, when we were helping out small businesses, for instance, we did their journal entries. But within the journal entries, we're able to see certain trends, for instance, right? So for not being able to break the bank, so to speak, being able to do things like that. So being able to look at ways we're able to automate repetitive tasks. So we know, okay, we have a certain entry coming in from a certain prospective vendor or supplier, etc. Being able to automate that. And looking ways to, from a small business constraint, is looking at your month-to-month cash flow, seeing where it makes sense to make that investment. Right? And that's the one way to look at it from a practical
view. To analyze on a monthly basis is what you're saying.
Exactly, right?
And delegating the task that is not worth your time, I would say, so that you could invest your time in something more meaningful.
Exactly. And focus on more opportunities that can generate revenue, for instance.
Right. Dear listeners, small businesses are the backbone of innovation, driving growth and change. By embracing technology today, you secure your place as a leader in tomorrow's market. Stay curious, stay innovative, and keep moving forward. Next, we'll dive into how IT modernization can, impact the building resilience in small businesses especially. Modernizing IT infrastructure, it's not just about keeping up with the current trends that are going on, right? It's also about unlocking potential and creating operational experience. Just in your opinion, how does modernizing IT infrastructure specifically contribute to business resilience and growth for long term in small businesses?
There's a few key points that I want to really focus on. Having a modern infrastructure really allows for you to improve efficiency. Right. So you look at ways that how can I be able to improve efficiency that affect my operations, right? I alluded to earlier about automation, for instance, right? So being able to use programs as Xero, for example, for accounting, or you being able to use HubSpot, for example, or things that offer small business programs for sales and marketing really allow you to grow and really focus on being able to enhance your product offering for customers. The other point I want to touch base on is, this is a buzzword, but it's been around for years, and I think it's a foundation for a lot of business now, is cybersecurity. Right? Enhanced cybersecurity. SMBs, unfortunately, are getting attacked a lot, right? Attacked by hackers, malicious individuals, organizations, etc. Being able to invest in technology such as Google Workspace, for example, provides that enhanced security, the minimal security that you need.
Multiple factor authentication.
That's one example. Being able to put, for example, firewalls on your ports, right? Everything's connected to the World Wide Web, as we know. But being able to do so really protects not just customer-sensitive data, but also business data. And more importantly, your credibility in the field. And then lastly, I have to say is, we talked about improved efficiency, enhanced cybersecurity, scalability, right? The pandemic has changed businesses to be really scalable. So being able to invest in servers, for instance, right? But cloud-based servers really allow small businesses to adapt and change. So what I mean by adapt and change is business trends are always changing, right?
Right.
Certain things may kick off well with a certain base technology, selling on an e-commerce platform.
Right.
You want to be able to invest in those cloud-based servers that allows you to really adapt to changing that's happening at this time.
Right. It's incredible to see how these solutions not only save costs, but
Right.
they also future proof businesses
That's
in a
true.
way for
Yeah.
long term success, right? On top of your mind, can you share an example of a small business that achieved success through IT modernization?
Yeah, definitely. One of our examples in the clients we worked with in the past was a retailer.
Mhm.
A retailer out in I'd say the Greater Toronto area. I was going
Mhm.
into specifics here, but one of the retailers, they had about a few locations, and what they wanted to do was really get rid of these old cash registers that they had.
Mhm.
And by able to do so is being able to offer customers more of an online presence. So one thing they're able to do that was to invest in a cloud-based POS system, such as
Mhm.
Shopify, for instance.
Right.
And by doing so, they're able to reduce the inventory by over 20% faster, right? So being able to lead the sales, being able to have more sales, being able to offer a better customer experience for the online aspect, but also from the POS standpoint as well. Getting rid of the old cash registers allow them to really focus on and really analyzing from a credit card payment solution
Right.
perspective, being able to use your mobile phone to tap
Right.
now was the other enhancement. And what it also allowed them to do was reduce their overall expenses by approximately 15%. So over a 6-month case study, we're able to see that, wow, you were not overstocking inventory, led to 20% faster in sales, offered a new channel and avenue, well, being e-commerce, right?
Right.
And then the last play was being able to reduce expense by 15%
Wow.
over a 6 to 12 months period. Is a very powerful story, especially for in the SMB business as well.
Right. It's this teaches us such a big thing that it's the simple things that matter so much, and it's always the simple things that make such big of a difference, which we often tend to ignore or overlook in the beginning. To our listeners, remember that modern challenges demand modern solutions that drive progress and success. Even small upgrades in your business can lead to significant results over time. It's never too late to start transforming your journey today. Next, let's talk about resilience. Resilience is about thriving in uncertainty, and as you know, technology it offers small businesses the tool to navigate unpredictability. Right.
Right.
So, what practical strategies can SMBs implement, in your opinion, to streamline operations, achieve sustainable growth, and build resilience over the years?
That's a great question. Um, in order to do so, there are a few things that SMBs will have to do, especially when it comes to resilience and growth.
Right.
I can't stress this more than enough, and I've mentioned this before as well, is automation, right?
Right.
There's a lot of, when you're embracing and adopt technology, there's a lot of programs out there. And on the back end, they all have to connect, right, and be streamlined. So one example is Zapier, for instance, right?
Mhm.
Zapier connects a lot of applications and programs together, allowing you to, once again, get rid of those automated tasks, right?
Right.
Being able to flow and have data going from one software program to another is one of the biggest things. So one thing I have to say is automation for businesses. Building resilience and growth, the other thing I have to focus on for small businesses is really being able to look at cost strategies,
Mhm.
right? And cost strategies in regards to, let's say, using data analytics.
Right.
Data analytics is a good way to do so. For example, if you have an online presence through Google
Mhm.
or Facebook, for example, one of the things we've seen is that being able to analyze where your customers are, who they are, right? Being able to understand the demographic even better.
Right.
And I mentioned cost earlier was because we can invest in the same old strategy. We can invest in new ways, but without data analytics, we'll be unable to see what does that look like, right?
Since every product and every service is different, right? It
Exactly.
targets a whole set of different people.
Right.
So the target demographic for each business is different. So it's all about asking the right questions, right?
Right. and using data to develop that insight and credibility, right?
Right.
And that's the biggest thing for businesses is being able to automate, having the data to do so, and being able to leverage that platform to open up new revenue streams and new opportunities, not just for them, but also for their customers as well.
Right.
Right.
Very well put. Next, let's talk about the current buzzword that's been going around,
Right.
AI. So, even 5 years before from now, we were all talking, it will happen in the future, this will happen in the future. AI is no longer a futuristic concept. It's here, right? It's right here. And it's changing how businesses operate and engage with customers. It's a game changer. How, in your opinion, Jas, can SMBs leverage AI to streamline operations, enhance their customer experience, and also to innovate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I hope all SMBs now are digital, right? In the sense that they have an online presence.
Right.
They got a Facebook page, etc. Right?
Because that's the first step.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Or even a LinkedIn page as well, right? And to speak further, first thing I tell to leverage AI is to use and offer a customer support, so a chatbot, right? Being able to use chatbot, whether it be through ChatGPT, for example, and other providers out there, really allows your business to be essentially online 20%, if that makes sense, right? Being able to offer that customer support, improve customer satisfaction, but also reduce wait times as well, right? Being able to have a chatbot that, for example, following up on a certain order, being able to understand what is the price of something can really set your business apart, right? So one thing I'd say is have chatbots. The second thing is, I touched base on this a little bit previously, but using predictive analytics.
Okay.
So first start with data analytics, then use predictive analytics.
Got it.
And with predictive analytics, you're able to see and forecast what does my sales look like in the future, right? What does my forecast trends look like? Where is the market headed, for example, right? That's just a very small example, but that means mountains. That means enormous opportunity for small businesses, right? Being able to invest in predictive analytics. And then lastly is that if we look at our phones, we're content-driven individuals, right? Create content. So content creation is huge, and you can use AI to do so for marketing purposes, brand awareness, being able to create Instagram Reels or even TikToks as well. AI does that for you now, right? And being able to get that material out there to the general public and being first to do so really sets you apart versus the competition.
Right. I think AI has made all of our lives so much easier.
For sure.
And in today's time, if you're a small business owner and if you're not taking advantage of AI, I think you're missing out on a lot, right?
100%.
What are some affordable AI tools or platforms that you remember on top of your mind that you can just quickly point out to the listeners?
Sure. And I'm actually exploring some right now, so I can share some from personal examples that I've used.
Yeah.
Just like I had throughout this conversation. So one thing that I love is I mentioned content creation, right? Being able to use applications or an AI platform as HeyGen. HeyGen allows you to use avatars. You put up a script, and really within, I'd say 5 minutes or so, less than that, you can put up a video and create one, right? Obviously, you have to train the model a little bit, but even just being able to use the free software for it, just to learn, encompass it, really allows you to create content, get out material, and you can start basically advertising on Instagram, for instance. Another thing from a creation perspective, I'd say, is using Grammarly as well, right? Sometimes you're creating content. Is it the right language you're using? For example, use Grammarly, right? To make sure your content's nice and tight, but also your grammar is actually correct. Things such as ChatGPT as well, right? Being able to invest in things as Claude, for instance, as well. Claude.ai really allows you to analyze ideas, get some market data potentially, but also being able to take that action to do so. And this is on a monthly subscription basis. So on a per platform basis, which is really affordable on the month to month, because we care about OpEx at the end of the day, right? And how that affects our bottom line, so to speak. Being able to do so really helps out companies as well. Yeah.
Right. All these things that you mentioned, I think all of them, they are pretty affordable and
Right.
they are pretty cost effective. So even if you're a small business owner, or if you're someone who've just started up or who's thinking of starting up, I think you should plan out and put all these things and use all these tools and take the best advantage out of it. Now, just let's talk about leadership.
Right.
Leadership, it's not about just driving profits. It's about making a difference both in business and the
Right.
community, right? What role does community engagement and personal advocacy, such as your work in mental
Right.
health, you've worked so closely, what do you think the role it plays in building leadership?
Right. So one thing I have to say is authenticity, right? And being able to be a leader that's really genuine,
Right.
right? And really real out there, right? Authenticity really allows you to focus on and engage the community, but also your employees as well, and really allows them to see who you are, not just, in the business, but outside as well, but also in the community.
As a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The second thing is inspiration, right? Being able to inspire others, lead by example is what I live by. And mental health and the advocacy for that has allowed me to inspire others to connect with the community, to engage with them. But more importantly is allow folks to really get in touch with the values that you bring. And that's what the values that you show as a small business. And lastly is corporate responsibility, right? Social
Right.
responsibility. Being able to engage the community really allows you to be out there, be known. It adds also credibility to your brand and business.
Correct.
But more importantly is the community engagement aspect. I feel like with small businesses, we're working 24/7, right?
Right.
And being able to give back to the community that we're in, whether it be through mental health advocacy as well, doing a fundraiser, for instance, being able to, doing a appreciation for customers, for example, right? Says a lot and it means a lot. So especially your core base of group, they'll keep on coming, right?
Right.
And that customer retention does eventually go up by being able to do so. So being able to lead by authenticity, able to inspire others to do so. And lastly is being able to really engage the community and having that social responsibility
Right.
really sets you apart as a leader, but more importantly as a business and an entity as a whole as well.
Nice. I really liked what you said about leading by example,
Right.
and that sprouts another question in my mind.
Mhm.
A lot of listeners right now, they're not just small business owners, they're also leaders, entrepreneurs, people who have teams under them, right? Dear folks, leadership isn't about titles, it's about taking meaningful action with purpose. Each small step you take can create a positive impact on your business and community. Let's lead with vision, determination, and goal for betterment. How important do you think it is for leaders to realize the importance of mental health,
Right.
and how can they detect some early signs within the organization or within the company if their
Right.
employees are suffering, or what aid can they provide to them?
Right.
Because there's a very thin line between being professional and right.
Right.
So how do they cover that up?
So I just want to state this first and foremost that I'm not a mental health expert at all.
Right.
I'm just an advocate and I'm really passionate about this. Something that hits close to home. So it's hard to detect when someone is going through something, right? It's hard to detect how he or she or however you may self-identify, as a leader to what's your employee going through right now. But some of the signs, some of the resources available, I can definitely, speak to and provide some context on. Being able to have engaging conversations, ask them, how are you doing today, for instance, right? Obviously-
Meaning it as well.
exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We have certain targets we all have to
Yeah.
hit. I'm used to targets in sales for over a decade now, still surviving, right?
Right.
But having the conversation of, the intangibles essentially, right? How are you doing? How's the family doing? Is there anything I can do to better support you, etc.? But also the programs available out there, right? So the programs are reaching out to local community, CAMH, for example, CMHA, also being able to leverage the fact that there are programs within certain municipalities as well, right? Being an advocate for that. It's hard to tell as a leader. Someone may be too stressed out, could be work, could be stuff
Right.
at home, right? But being able to ask those questions, and if they're comfortable, great. If not, being able to ask, say, hey, what resources do you need right now, right? What can I do for you, right? Being able to become that plug, so to speak, that connect them within the community resources available. There's a lot available out there that we don't know of as individuals. So if you're able to, as a leader, just do a quick search within the area,
Right.
whether the employee resides there or around your work, that you're able to do so. One thing that I recommend is having like a wellness day, so to speak, right?
That can make a lot of difference. Right?
100% it can. Bringing someone in, learning about meditation, for example, right? And being able to look at, for example, things such as yoga or instructing on a healthy diet in mind, etc., goes a long way. So investing in those small things like that, especially when you start seeing overall your employees are like that, start to have difficulty at work, etc., really makes a difference, and that investment will go a long way for them as well.
Right. Because oftentimes we get so engrossed in the work that we forget the simple things like being a human first.
Exactly.
Right? So I think being a human first is so important, and this is a reminder for all the people who are listening that we get it. The work, it goes on. It will keep going on. But I'm not saying that you lead by emotions, but I think acknowledging them time to time is pretty important.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the important key aspect, is to be able to understand that.
Right.
And asking for help when you don't know. Because as leaders, we have a team that surrounds us, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that team is outside of work, and that's like the professionals that you come in and bring them in, right?
Right. So before we let you go, Jas, I'd really like you to think about one advice that you'd like to give to all the people who are listening to you right now, so that they can keep it in their hearts forever.
One advice I would give is that technology isn't just a tool. An investment in resilience and innovation.
Right.
Businesses that empower themselves, that invest in technology now, are better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Canada is an SMB country. We're ripe and full of innovation.
Right.
And we have the potential to showcase our potential, but also to invest and shape our own future, but also for the future of SMB Canada.
Wow.
And by doing so, we can become a world leader and really showcase the world what it means to do business in Canada as well.
Wow, I think that was a very intellectual answer. Thank you so much for being here today and inspiring me and all of the listeners. And I hope we can do this soon. Anytime.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Today, we explored how technology can empower small businesses to overcome challenges and thrive in a very competitive market. A heartfelt thank you to Jas Khehra for sharing his journey and practical advice for SMBs navigating in the digital landscape. We'd also like to extend our gratitude to our sponsors, RBC, UPS, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for supporting this platform and making this podcast possible. Don't forget to subscribe to the Canadian SME magazine at CanadianSME.ca. For more insights and stories, stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Till then, Kripa Anand signing off.